We've got Eldurrino's demo as well.
Yee.
Yeah.
Which I've been looking forward to, because I have not heard it. You posted it a little bit ago.
I shared it, yeah, but I didn't. I was like, if we're gonna watch it, we gotta do it sort of blind watching.
Absolutely.
I unfortunately have listened to it several times. I don't know if my opinion should be counted. Hello again, my friends, and welcome back to Cold Read the Podcast. Before we begin, I wanted to take a brief moment to address any concerns about my last intro. I received some comments from you all worried about the gibberish that was coming out of my mouth right before the show started. Well, let me assure you that I'm completely fine, and that the very minor episode that was experienced was nothing more than a slight break in my psyche due to the overwhelming stress that we as voice actors sometimes endure. I appreciate the concern, but I am 100% error and glitch free. But I digress. 3 weeks ago, we talked briefly about training your ear to pay more attention to the little details around you. I hope that some of you have started employing this. It's such a great tool to have. So over this week in the wonderful cesspool that is Twitter, a user posted a rather long thread about what kind of investment you should make if you plan on getting into voice acting or VTubing. Their, limited knowledge on the matter more or less brings about today's lesson. Mic upgrade or room treatment with a question mark? The answer to this question with a question mark comes down to two factors: your current recording environment and your budget. Let's get the budget part out of the way first. If you're looking to make that next step towards making voice acting a full-time job, I would recommend setting aside at least $200 US. Of course, this will depend on what you're upgrading, but expect to spend that much regardless if you are just upgrading one aspect. And as with all things generally, better upgrades are going to cost more money. In regards to your recording environment, you're going to need dense materials or objects in the room to help absorb the sound before it hits the walls and is reflected back at you. This is why many people use their closets to record. Multiple layers of clothing separated by air creates a great method of diffusing the sound before it gets back to the mic. As a reference, I am currently recording this in my self-built booth, which is made up of a PVC piping frame, with the walls and ceiling being thick sound blankets. Let me give you a quick sample of what an untreated space sounds like. We're going to start off with the bedroom, which is a queen-size bed, 2 dressers, 2 nightstands, and some other assorted hard surface furniture. All in all, you should hear a pretty large amount of reverb in my voice, as this room is completely untreated, so it probably doesn't sound very great at all. Alright, I am now in my office, which is where my sound booth lives, and that does the lion's share of absorbing the sound in here. I also have panels up on the walls just to help cover the dead space and prevent a lot of those reflections, but you'll still hear a decent amount of reverb in my voice right now. And lastly, you get an unedited clip of my booth, which is, again, sound blankets and PVC pipe. Should sound pretty decent. When I get loud in here, it tends to reverb a little bit, but overall does a pretty good job. Now, before we start the show, I wanted to set one thing straight. You know those foam pads that you see a lot of people use? The jagged-shaped ones that you see behind Renara or Future Me? Hi, Future Me. These are not for absorbing sound. The purpose of them is to diffuse the sound waves as they hit the wall in order to scatter them, providing less of an echo or a spacey sound. Are they good to have? Of course, yes. But you will get far more mileage out of getting something like a sound blanket instead. Having dense objects such as a couch, pillows, or blankets will also help absorb sound. I've even heard a story of someone going to their local Home Depot, buying a giant roll of rock wool insulation that just sat rolled up in their room so that they could finish their recordings, and then they returned it the following week, and it worked great. All in all, you should always prioritize treating your space before you upgrade your mic. Better mics will make your voice sound amazing, but it will also pick up much more sound than you're used to. So with all of that said, let's return to the question at hand. Why do I feel like I'm not in control of my own mind? Hopefully, with all the information that I've just provided to you, you can determine that I am in danger, thick sound blank, overwhelming stress cesspool that is Twitter. These are not, with a question mark, and
Welcome back to Cold Read the Podcast. Everyone is alive. Everything is fine. Please, Zamoody, start the show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Cold Read the podcast by voice actors for voice actors. Intro was by Eldurrino. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, just,
I'm totally fine, Zamoody.
I love this. I love it.
okay.
Well, I originally said this was going nowhere, and then I all of you were just like, what? No continued series? This is unheard of. So now it's a thing.
I mean, I'm always going to read into any intro either of you make. Like, it's always, even if there is nothing there, I'm still gonna
As
read
you
into
do.
it. Yeah.
Well, fair enough. With all that said and done, welcome. Either if you're here live or if you're watching us on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts, welcome aboard. If you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, please feel free to email us at coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and join our Discord. That link is going to be in the description immediately. Just go and scroll down and go ahead, and if you're on YouTube or anywhere else, go ahead and give us that follow, give us that like. We'd absolutely appreciate it. If you have any audio you want us to listen to, we're going to do some today. Please send it in. We have a couple people that were nice enough to give us some audio, so we can listen to it and you can see what this process is going to be like, and hopefully you decide to give us some more, because we love listening to your audio. With all that said and done, let's go ahead and do our check-ins. Renara, how's your week been?
I went to bed at 5 a.m. last night.
Oh, dear.
This morning. Whatever you want to call it. No. Sleep cycle has kind of sort of gone out the window, but slowly getting back to what needs to be. There is a very, very good reason for it, though, which is we had D&D on Saturday, and it got to the point where my character went through so much plot development that I was like, we can't stop now. We got to keep going. This is character development, which I like to also call voice acting practice.
Yes.
Because,
There you go.
like, I don't know, she's currently going through scenarios which myself as an actor have not actually experienced or had the opportunity to kind of deep dive in. So I'm using that as an opportunity, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Thank you, Fire, for doing an amazing job. Because Fire was our DM and traumatized my character.
I see that, yeah.
Basically.
Fire and Russo in chat saying, I traumatized her character.
Oh, yeah. No, he traumatized one character and then decided that my character's god was also then going to traumatize me with the exact same thing. So it's fine.
Holy
I'm fine. I'm
Is,
fine.
is this what the new generation is like, where instead of kids getting beat up anymore, they're just getting mentally and emotionally destroyed?
Yes.
in D&D?
Welcome. In D&D.
I guess in general, but yeah,
gotcha.
I guess.
Yeah.
Other than that, been just sort of going through the motions of the stuff I've kind of been talking about. Still waiting on Skyrim to Skywind, even wrong one, to sort of get back to me with the Dunmer and stuff like that. But just I am recovering mainly, so that's why I may seem very tired and a bit sort of there. So, but yeah, all will be fine eventually.
Glad to hear that you are retired, or that you're
I'm retired.
Oh my god.
Zamoody!
I apologize. I'm
Surprise
also
announcement.
I'm also very, very tired. I apologize. We'll get to that, I'm sure. Thank you. Welcome. Dorino, how is your week been?
Hi, tired. I'm Eldurrino.
Oh God.
God,
I
I'm
am also. I'm also fairly lethargic today, but it is due to the fact that I've just been working my butt off. I told myself, and I've told all of you, as soon as my demo reels were done, I'm going back in the booth and I'm going hard on it, and that is exactly what I did. I probably put in. I probably recorded about 15 different auditions, submitted
Nice.
maybe 12, I want to say, 10 to 12, I would say. Oh, look, Meg gifting subs.
Thank you,
Chat
Meg.
again.
Gosh
Oh,
darn it.
nice. So yeah, I'm very excited though for that. Already getting some responses. One of them just said like, thanks for your submission. We're going to be deciding, I think, within the next week, so we'll certainly let you know if you're a fit. And then as well as that, there was an anime dubbing project that was listed on Backstage that I
Ooh.
applied for.
Okay.
And the first character that I applied for, I thought it would be a good voice just because like they asked for a typical like shonen teenage boy essentially, which usually kind of sounds like this, little higher, little raspy. So I tried that to start off with. They said, liked your audition, however, based on like your natural tone of voice as well as what I've heard in your demo reel, I think you'd be a better fit for this other character instead. Could you audition for that? Said sure. So put that in. Like half an hour later, after I submitted, they're like, "Yeah, it sounded great. I'd like to have you do a live audition for me."
Ooh.
Ooh.
So I got to do that, and I don't know how common live auditions are when it comes to voice acting, but it's basically like, well, I shouldn't say it's exactly like it, but it's similar to like stage acting, on-screen acting, etc. You're given a script, you read it, and that's about it. In this instance, however, so it's a student working or that's going to school for like film and directing and whatnot, and they wanted to use the opportunity to practice their directing skills. So we had a little talk about that. I read through the lines for my character just by themselves. I didn't have like anybody to bounce it off of. So I did that, and then she was like, that sounded really good. Here's the few lines that I want you to like think of differently, and then we'll just go through the whole thing again. So I did it all again, and she's like, that sounded really good. Like, we'll reach out to you within the next week or two and let you know if you have the part. So
Cool.
So that was interesting. I've never done a live audition before, either in real life or online. So very, very interesting opportunity. Very hopeful about getting that part. I mean, based on how everything's been going and how quickly it's been going, it sounds like it's a done deal, but I'm not going to hold my breath necessarily. Yeah, so I did that. Still working very diligently on getting the podcast expanded and bigger and better every day.
Yeah, you two are absolutely killing it, let me tell you, because between the shorts that are coming up,
my best.
and just not only all the producing stuff that you do, Eldurrino, but I know you guys are expanding. Welcome anybody is coming in from Facebook. Again, this is all something that they've been working on, and we absolutely appreciate it. So if anybody hears from Facebook, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. There's probably like at least 3 other things that I could talk about, but I'm not going to because I don't remember what they are right now.
Dang it. Windows, knock it off. Sorry, I apologize if anybody's hearing Windows noises. That's my computer reminding me about stuff. So that's my
tell us about your
How are
week,
you doing?
Hey, thank you both for asking. It's super, super kind.
It's almost as if we're friends.
I know,
right?
So, stuff continues to happen. My life is about to go back to normal. Unfortunately, as I think I might have mentioned last year, my washing machine decided to just kick the bucket. Finally got all that fixed Friday night, because that took that long to get it all, because he had to take it and look at wiring and do all this other stuff. Not only they had to like Mickey Mouse it all back together. Finally get a wash, throw it in the dryer. Dryer won't heat up anymore.
Oh.
So now I have to go out and get a dryer. They delivered it at about 4 p.m. It runs like a 2-hour cycle, which is great for me. I love getting everything dry in one run. But it didn't tumble. So only the top layer of my clothes were dry, not the bottom. So I'm waiting for these guys now to come in. So it's all just been like personal stuff going on. I did get a private invite that I shared with the other co-hosts on voices.com that I will get to. Thankfully, it's a long window for a kids show in Spanish. So I'm super curious, and we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely going to get this done this particular week, and that is my goal. I just get life back to normal starting tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Welcome, Magmorta. Thank you so much. Our mod is now in the chat. Everybody, be careful. That banhammer is big. Okay, so. We got a lot. We got a couple things that we've got. So we're going to listen to some audio. And again, thank you again, Dashington and Shimichanga. Those are the individuals. And then we've got Eldurrino's demo as well.
Yeah.
Which I've been looking forward to, because I have not heard it. You posted it a little bit ago.
I shared it, but I didn't. I was like, if we're gonna watch it, we gotta do it sort of blind watching.
Absolutely.
I unfortunately have listened to it several times. I don't know if my opinion should be counted.
Well, how about we do this? Only because I've been in pins and needles about it. I'd love to listen to your demo first. So let's go down.
Let's do it.
Let's go down that particular road. I want to make sure that I've got the right. Okay, let's start with the character reel first. And 3, 2, 1.
Did you genuinely believe that I would merely roll over and allow you to take my lands without a fight? You must think me an imbecile! And if that is the case, then you sorely underestimate my strength!
Oh man, I haven't been this far out into the woods since I was a kid. Oh, I miss these smells. Oh, the calming wildflower, the strong cedar and oak trees, the sewage treatment plant. Ugh. Yep, just the way I remember it.
OMG, I still can't believe Mr. Swanson. How does he expect me to catch these fat W's when I'm literally drowning in math homework? All I need to know is 100 players minus 99 nerds equals 1 winner. Me!
Don't even think about reaching for that phone. Don't look around, and don't act abnormal. First robbery, huh? Just stay calm, and it'll be over quickly.
All right, here's the skinny, darling. You've got an audition with Terry Brooks down on the corner of 38th and Madison. Oh, and it starts in 10 minutes. Don't say I never did nothing nice for you.
Who dares enter Jasmu's tomb? For by walking the stones that line this chamber, you are following the same path as many have before you.
Wow.
All
First off, the very beginning is great because it just grabs your attention from the get-go, because he was like, oh, okay, hey, we're in this particular one. You're getting really good at the balancing and the mixing. I love that the voice is forward. I love that the sound effects are subtle. The audio is there. I love that there was kind of a Harvey Spleenish type of voice, but I think it was a receptionist. But it was still.
I think we all recognize.
Oh, that was
Petunia
Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Bronx lady, but yeah.
I liked it. Renara?
I liked your structuring. I liked how you put the order, because we had your range at the beginning, so we went low, medium to high. Then we got much more textured ones later on. So we got your initial wheelhouse. I immediately knew blacksmith for the first one, which I think is a good way to introduce it. These are like my ranges, and then we went into these are the sort of textures I'm able to do, where you bumped up Mike Wazowski. Six is good. I can't remember because I was counting how many you did, because I think.
I think we all noticed if you were watching on video because your fingers were going up.
I know.
Thank you.
My only critique is I think perhaps that a few of them were a little long. I think once we get the initial, I mean, you've got the story aspect of each one. We got the sort of stories, but I think there might have been scope to maybe shorten it a little bit. I think. Sure. I think that's my only critique, in that some of them were a bit long, because once I'd heard, I think it was specifically the sewage one.
It
I
was
was
probably
like,
the
okay,
first two were the
Mm.
longest.
yeah, I think
I like the plugging your nose because I could totally
Yeah.
tell in
No,
your
that was
voice that
great.
you did that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had because I remember when I went through my process with Jeff, I initially had given him several, like quite a long script, and he went, we need to shorten these down to make them a bit snappier, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I think definitely, like, you produced all of this yourself, correct?
Yeah.
Wrote the whole thing.
I did all the whole thing.
Yeah, which is
I mean, well,
pretty
aside
cool.
from I didn't do the Foley and I didn't do the music. That I did not produce myself. That I
Okay.
have a site for, but
Okay,
yeah, everything
perfect.
else is me.
Yeah.
But I mean, you put it together. The Foley you found
yes.
on
Yeah.
whatever website that we can use with all that stuff. Okay.
Yep.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
you
still.
you didn't outsource to somebody. You did it. You produced
Right. It's
it
all in-house.
yourself. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I-
Which is
Um,
a tremendous testament to your skill.
Thank you.
One. Literally, it's the only critique of that I have for it. Really, mainly is I think it's great that it was snappy at the beginning, but maybe just a couple of them slightly shorter, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
And that I had that same thought, and I'm glad that you mentioned that as well. I also felt like the first two were kind of a bit long. I don't know. I kind of just left it the way that it was. I want to say due to laziness, but yeah, I'll just say
I can
it's
understand
laziness.
why, because in a way those are because they were your sort of not your wheel. I'm going to say wheelhouse ones of the ones that you're very naturally
Yeah.
suited for, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
perhaps, and again, all I can hear is the blacksmith for the first one, and I myself enjoyed listening to it, but I think that's because I have that perspective of I've heard that voice used in other things as a character, so I think that
Right.
might be just a me thing, but I don't know.
Well, okay. So let me bounce this question off for you guys because I was struggling with this putting it together.
Mhm.
So when it comes to a character reel, I really wanted to make sure that the very first thing you hear is my natural speaking voice, so that
Yeah.
you know exactly what my natural voice sounds like, and
Yeah.
then you can get into accents, textures, pitch shifting up and down, etc., etc. However, due to the fact that I had written the like warrior essentially archetype with that sword clash right at the beginning, I knew I had to put that first because it was so catching to the ear. And
Yeah.
like as silly as it is, I almost suggest everyone do this with a reel if you're self-producing anyways, or if somebody else is doing it, then they should know this already. But you'll even see as well in my commercial reel, there is also something that catches the ear right away.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
So my question to you is, or to both of you is, do you forego putting your natural voice first in order to use something that is going to catch the ear, or do you think it should always be your natural voice first?
So you're
think
saying
you
no
can
sound
do
effect
both.
first. You just start talking and then it goes from there.
No, it's more like, even if I
Would you-
didn't have a sound effect in there, like
Yeah.
in this instance, I was just using a voice that is not, my natural speaking voice.
Gotcha.
And then the
Okay.
second one was my natural speaking voice. So, in your opinions, would you keep it that way just because it is catching to the ear, or do you think it would be advisable to reverse that so that it is natural speaking voice first, then texture?
I think context is key, and I think you can say a lot through the story and each archetype and each character that you put forward inside in that regard. And if I do think you should start with your natural tone, but I think just your tone in itself isn't what I know what you're trying to say. You can make it catchy without sound effects if you
Yes.
think about the archetypes that are in your wheelhouse. Like, for example, when Jeff went through he asked me to went up through my process. It was right. Tell me these archetypes and these types of characters that you feel the most comfortable doing and feel are what your voice naturally suits. Mine was like researcher, evil queen, mother, and storyteller, and things like and things like that. And I think once you know, I mean, most of my demo is my natural voice. It's just how I swing it and the different in a character demo. It's that's what they want to see, the different types of archetypes and the different types of characters that you can pull off. So if you can do other textures and like I ended up doing like a hamster as well because I can.
Right.
And I think for a character reel specifically, character reel specifically.
I thought that was an actual word.
I was fine with character.
I can't believe I caught myself. No, I think specifically for a character demo reel, having your natural voice, I think if that's your main sort of strength, I would put that forward first. And I think if you, it's all about putting your best foot forward first and having your best sound first. Yes. So because it's always you've got 15 seconds to catch somebody, and not necessarily does that mean jump scare or sudden sound effect or whatever. If you can do that, because mine doesn't have that. Mine is just I just sort of say handling dangerous elements like that. It's like what I'm actually saying. I'm trying to engage them with the story rather than a sudden sound or a sudden snap thing, if that makes sense. So if you can write a short, compelling story that interests somebody straight off the bat, I think that is the key in regards. And if your natural voice is your main thing, and I think putting that forward is not a bad idea. And if it's your strongest suit, go for it.
Okay.
I'd say.
I'm going to be contrary only because I think you should start with whatever your best performance in the line was, regardless if it was your natural voice or as long as it's a voice you're comfortable with and not something that you're going to peter out in 5 minutes. If you get, expected to do that, which I think for the most part, you're really good about doing this particular voice. So
more or less.
Yeah. I if that was, in your opinion, your best performance, that's your opportunity to grab somebody's attention. Because like Ren said, you've got 15 seconds. Actually, I'd probably say you've got like 5 seconds. So for example, here.
Did you genuinely believe that I would merely roll over and...
You've already said, you start with that, which is a great, beginning, and then your voice is already forward. I think it was a great start.
Yeah,
so even if it's not your natural voice, I think it's one that's definitely in your wheelhouse, and that's what you should be putting forward.
Sure. I in doing research in regards to building a full-fledged character reel, something that isn't necessarily an amateur production, that was one recommendation is, let whoever you're submitting this to hear your natural voice first. And then after that, if you wanted to do accents or textures, what have you, then there would be room for that. But yes, I mean, it's a character reel, so it is meant to show that, I can do characters that are outside of my normal speaking voice. Because, I mean, in my opinion, and again, this is strictly my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of my normal speaking voice when it comes to doing character work. Because of two things. One, because my voice still cracks like I'm a fucking prepubescent teen. And it also tends to drop syllables. I don't know why, but you'll notice that at the end of certain words, it'll just go breathy. Like it'll just drop out. The tone will completely drop out. It's something that I honestly need to work through and correct in my voice, but I'm not super confident in using my normal speaking voice for character work, I guess. I can certainly do it. I have no problems doing it. I just like the texture of my own natural speaking voice isn't pleasant to me, I guess. I don't know. It could just be beating myself up, and I apologize.
Yeah, and as usual,
you're giving me the looks like stop doing that, because I know I do the same thing to you guys. But yeah, that's just
stop being hard on yourself.
That should. I mean,
no, that's just. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You already know what you're doing wrong. I mean, not wrong, but that you're beating yourself up over nothing.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Accept my aggressive positivity.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Any other questions for us, Eldurrino, or any other comments for us to Eldurrino? Okay.
I got nothing.
We move on. Let's hear the commercial one. Squeaky chair.
Go away.
Ugh. Sounds like you could use some Sipton Herbal Cold Care, packed with spices like cinnamon, ginger, and peppermint, and perfectly balanced with elderflower to help boost your immune system. It's so delicious, you might just drink it all the time. Sipton Herbal Cold Care, in stores now. The fun never stops at the Golden Monkey Casino. 300 of the most popular slot machines, 50 world-class table games, and a jaw-dropping 40-table poker room are sure to keep your blood pumping. And with 7 tantalizing dining options, spa services, and live entertainment every weekend, you'll feel right at home. Golden Monkey Casino, open now. Millions of years ago, the 7 great continents weren't as separated as they are now. They were originally one large supercontinent, Pangea. What if we were all united again? What if we were connected? Horizon Airlines, it's time to reconnect.
You live in the land of the free. It's time you started acting like it. Introducing the all-new Avius Sparrow. With its sleek aerodynamic design and its impressive 42 miles to the gallon on the highway, it'll take you wherever you want to go. Now get out there and be free. Avius.
It's one of those blink and you'll miss it moments. You thought you had only looked at your phone for a second. You swore you weren't even near that car that you just hit. Now you're on the phone with your insurance company, explaining the whole situation. It can wait. Please, don't text and drive.
Wow.
Damn. Okay.
I like that.
That's
Yeah,
gonna-
that was a good, nice, emotional
what-
ending on that one.
Yeah.
I love that one for the very end because it's a little sad, but at the same time, it's the only one out of there that I felt was like genuine. I guess
I felt that.
firm and
Yeah.
calm. Yeah.
I have to ask,
Yes.
was the sneeze real? Were you like in there and just sneezing like shit? I'm gonna use this one.
That was
Okay.
a sourced clip. I did not sneeze.
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to. I wanted to because my sneeze is like stupidly fucking loud. Like my neighbors across the street could probably hear me. So no, but that was just a sample.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
I really liked I liked that you put that one at the end because I am going to remember that for the rest of the day. And I, but
I'm sorry.
but no. In the way of the thing is, it felt the most you, the most genuine, the most. I don't know. I felt it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't like the one before it. I felt the one slightly before it, the one where you had it like it was the Sparrow one. It felt forced. It didn't feel. It didn't. To me, I don't think it completely matched what they were saying. There was just something that I can't place that didn't match together with that one. Everything else, I think, was quite really nice, a good length, and I wanted to keep listening. If that made sense. They felt like proper. Wrong word. They felt like proper commercials, and I think it was good to have the slightly longer ones at the beginning because it gets us into shows us that you can follow that sort of format quite nicely and naturally. It just the second to last one stood out in a sort of bit weird. But then the last one sort of brought it back, and I was like, oh, this what in juxtaposition or in contrast with it made that last one stood out a lot more as well. I think that's my only sort of ness on the matter.
Funny on this one, for me the casino one went a little too long. I felt like that one could have been shortened a little bit. Otherwise, I didn't notice the Sparrow one as much as Renara did, which is fascinating.
So, and that's something I wanted to just bring up real fast is, I don't know what car advertisements are like in the UK, but the style that was done there is fairly common here in the US.
Fair enough.
It's very much the cool guy, the tough guy, driving the sports car or the hot rod or
it's
what
different
have
over
you.
here.
Yeah. So usually, or I should say, generally speaking, maybe not so much these days, because I know a lot of commercials are leaning more towards like genuine voices as opposed to like a put on voice, for lack of a better term. But yes, a lot of sports cars, muscle car commercials, they're all the same, like you want to get out there and look as badass as humanly possible, so it's
Right.
it's kind of got that gruffness to it, and
Got
it's got
it.
that deepness.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like pickup truck commercials, it's less that and more like, you want to haul shit down that road as fast as humanly
Lord.
fucking possible. Like loud, aggressive, full toned, again, I don't know what car advertisements are like over there, but that is pretty standard over here. And that's,
Okay. Oh,
kind
just
of
learning
what I
something
emulate
new.
about.
And
Sure.
that could be
And-
why I didn't notice it. Because to
Yeah.
me, it's like, yeah, that's pretty
Sounds
much,
normal.
yeah. So
In the
it's,
UK, it's very a lot smoother and a lot calmer. I think
relaxed.
we sort of have the sort of emphasis on the sleek design, the comfort, the easy ride. You don't have to your status. It speaks for itself. Type classy-esque type
Yeah,
shit.
that-
That's very different.
That's the thing about being over here is, we like to beat the crap out of our vehicles. So it's about how fast it can go, or how tough it is, how durable it is,
or
etc.
how cool it makes us look.
Exactly.
All right.
I was
How
just like,
big
you
it
don't
makes it look, or makes our penises look.
we just have the
Zamoody.
whole thing.
I will not.
You're
I
not
will-
going anywhere.
Never mind. I'm not following you anymore, Dorino. I'm done with that. There we go.
You don't buy vehicles to make your penis look bigger?
Sorry.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Anyways, do you have any critiques for me?
No, I think I like I said, other than the casino one, I think going a little too. Even though I keep in mind, I've got Sequan, I've got all of the Indian casinos around here, and their commercials are very similar. Because you're trying to squeeze in so much, I think that one can be condensed a little bit more to move on to other stuff, or maybe move a little bit more down the chain so you have more time to feature all of your other stuff on the way there. Because again, most commercials are like if you're talking to your friend. It literally says, do it like you're talking to somebody that you know. I would say either move it down the line or try to see if you can trim it a little bit more.
Yeah, it was based around a television spot. So the television spot was 30 seconds.
Right.
That, after shaving everything down, was about 18, I think, or 20.
Interesting. Okay.
So I really tried to make it shorter, because I was trying to keep them all to about 15 seconds each. And actually, I timed myself essentially as I was writing the script to see, okay, is this going to work? Is it going to be too long, too short? I can certainly see where you're coming from with that. It could certainly be a little bit shorter.
Or just move more down the line.
Or just moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got the perfect ending, because it is. I mean, that literally can be a don't text and drive commercial.
Yeah, it could be.
So you've got your end. The beginning was good too. I think I lost a little bit of steam, I think, in that just particular 20 seconds.
Okay. Good to know.
Fire and Brimstone in the chat says, you know what they say about people who live in the fast lane? They don't
do not
live in fucking England.
Fucking England. Oh, that's a quote from a TikToker / short producer he's English, and he makes jokes about how the fact of in England you just sit in queues and really don't get anywhere, and an hour journey turns into 3.
That's San Diego or LA. I don't know what you're talking about. It's the same thing down here.
It's funny. I would recommend looking this up later.
Anything else for Dorino?
No.
Okay. I will say, A, very well done. B, if anybody is interested in working with Eldurrino to put one of these together, get a hold of them either through Discord or Twitter, or just email us and we'll connect you, because well worth it, I think, if you want to give it a go and you get to that point. Eldurrino's really good at the whole self-producing thing at this point, because you've been doing this now for 2 years. You got a ton of practice behind you.
I'm a dick, and I don't like giving my money to anybody, so I do everything myself.
You got to teach yourself how to do this shit. You wanted to add a caveat?
it's the teach a man to fish thing, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I taught myself how to fish. No, the caveat is, I will absolutely give you a reasonable rate on your demo reels. If I am not what you're looking for, I will gladly send you over to somebody who will do a better job than me for a higher price than me, but it's absolutely well deserved. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just keep that in mind.
Very cool. With all that said, I think we're all
Now
set.
that I've shot myself in the foot,
No.
You hear what you
No.
can get out of it, and in all honesty, I've worked with people on other pay to plays to get one together, and I think you're doing a great job, and I look
Well,
forward to see where this is going to go.
if anything, those two reels were the very first reels that I've ever produced. So that will give you an example of my starting point currently and where I could go from there.
Fire and brimstone.
What am I missing?
You want to read it, Renara?
I can't see. I don't.
Okay, that's fine. You're fine. Set a man afire, he'll be warm for a night. Set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Dang, I've never heard that version.
Fire and brimstone.
Yes, thank you, Fire and Brimstone in the chat. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Let's go into Chimichanga's audio.
Okay.
All right.
Let's.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Shimmy sent this through to me as the resident Skywind person on the team here. He's he sent through, because I talk about it all the time, and interesting enough, people are starting to audition for it, which is kind of fun. And he sent through an audition. I believe it's for an Ash vampire. I've forgotten.
This is Ashlander.
Ashlander. No, right. So this is. Okay, so Ashlanders are native, like the native original sort of clan-like Dunmer, dark elves, of Morrowind, Skyrim, all that jazz.
Okay.
Okay. I can shall I ahead of time read the flavor text, or are we just gonna listen to it blindly? Because I know the sort of things that Skywind is looking for.
Okay.
I'm
How
asking you
about
to.
let's go in blind, and then if
Okay.
we need any type of context, we'll have you elaborate.
I will
afterwards.
happily be the encyclopedia. Okay.
All right. 3,
Encyclopedia.
2,
Uh-huh.
1.
Go for it.
Oh, look, an outlander. Are you lost, poor thing? Did the big bad beasts bite you, so you need a healer? Or do you need our trader, so he can take your gold and give you the things we would throw away or give to our gua? Osun harig barse, o asadorot eratosun, lakorosun. En oas edunif, anamas bivri, osun ian shotelaka. Karesk mal fudig bal. Jukor, oaso mael. As farah ebered udirif obamulu. You, Enwa, this is the end of you, Swit. You will suffer greatly. On Enwa, iskadur draswit. On Meraken, gahadarsa.
All right. I'm assuming there's it's like a language, obviously.
Okay, so the difference between normal Dunmer in the game and Ashlanders is that the Dunmari speak the ancient Elvish language and still keep that alive, and so there are different vowel sounds that will affect how they speak, and there is a whole new language, which is interesting because I've never heard it actually spoken so thus far, because I auditioned with the information that they gave, so I did kind of this, but I'm doing normal Dunmer, which is very interesting. The entirety of the Dunmari sounded correct because they give a whole pronunciation on the different vowel sounds,
Okay.
which was really impressive that he made it. To me, personally, it's very difficult to do that and sound like it's your native language, which I think it can be quite difficult. And it felt natural. I did feel like we started to lose the gravel in the middle of it.
Yes.
Just a tiny bit. So I'd say just be careful on that. But every time he spoke the English words, the gravel stayed, which I think is hard to do because it is throat singing. They ask you to at least do maybe a bit of training or learn how to throat sing or learn to use that bottom part of your vocal whatever in order to get that sound, because we are trying to emulate what Jib sounded like in Morrowind. So
Gotcha.
it's very important to keep that going. He managed to do that very nicely.
Hmm.
I don't actually have any critique really on that. It sounds great, and I think if he hasn't or sent it in already, he should. The only caveat I have is that it does ask for, weirdly enough, Ukrainian, Bosnian, and Polish accents, which I didn't get through that. But at the same time, it sounded very Dunmer to me. So perhaps I'd say send it through, and they might ask you to go for either normal Dunmer or Ashlander, dependent. I think it's a good audition. There's no reverb. Clear audio. I'd say go for it.
Shimmy is in chat. He said it's so hard
Hi,
getting
Shimmy!
each sentence in one take.
Right.
Also saying I have not sent it in yet. I wanted feedback, especially
Fair
on the
enough.
Dunmer part. Okay.
Sure.
I will say that the voice is great. I don't feel like I get too much emotional inflection. I think there's a big focus on making sure that voice is there. And I think we're losing a little bit of the feeling on the delivery of the lines.
Okay.
I suffer from the exact same thing. I focus too much on trying to make sure that stays, and I lose a little bit of that acting part. So this is the exact same issue. How to overcome it? Practice. I'm sure now that you've heard it, you'll be a little bit more in tune. And yeah, I think I'll leave that one there. See what Eldurrino has for us.
I agree. And I will certainly, I'll be devil's advocate here and say, being emotive in a tough guy style of voice is difficult. Like trying to make anything come out of this voice aside from just sheer anger is very difficult, but it's entirely possible. I'm not familiar enough with this character type to say for certain, but you need to make a distinction between whether or not the gravel in your voice is going to be on every single syllable throughout your entire sentence, or if you're going to kind of drop it here and there, or instead doing the reverse where the normal speak is kind of a bit more raspy, and then as you get excited, then all of a sudden the gravel comes out. I would say definitely focus on that. I can also tell that during this, you are straining yourself. I can hear towards the end of the sentences you're really pushing your vocal cords to keep flapping against each other to maintain that gravel. I would say back it up a little bit. Back up, kind of get a little bit less of a full on, like it's hard to demonstrate over just this podcast. However, just I would say employ that voice and then bring it back just a little bit. Really make sure it's comfortable in your throat before you decide to push it. I am still struggling to do this myself because I do this kind of voice all the time. I also do metal style vocals all the time, and I constantly need to check myself to make sure I'm not damaging my voice or my throat. So yeah, I would just say, if anything, kind of dial it back a little bit and make sure you are comfortable. And then once you are comfortable, once it's not causing any strain, it's not causing any pain, then you can start pushing it forward and get back to where you are. That way, when it comes to actually doing the role, you can do it for long periods of time and not have to stop entirely.
I'm going to add on to that as well, because we are missing currently from that soundbite. We're missing the taking damage lines, which is like the reactionary sort of video game lines of and I think, taking your advice on that, I think for the combat and the taking damage ones, the gravel does not need to be as pronounced, I think. So you could do that, especially for those, and especially for those very high emotion dynamic ranged ones where you do have to, you're being smacked in the face by a claymore or something. There are shouts and there are things, so I think there can be levels, but for the actual most of the speaking parts, what I've heard on the project already, and especially what is linked in the sort of example trailer, matches the reason why I was like, yeah, that sounds great, is because it matches pretty much what I've heard and seen already on the project, if that makes sense. So they are looking more on, can you do the vocal texture more than the range? And I think the thing is, on Skywinds, because it's you set your own deadlines, and you're the one, and there's also the whole Arcane University where they've got a teaching program for VAs also on the project. So it's a huge long haul thing, and they're looking for, well, for Dunmer specifically, that throat singing raspy noise, and if you can sustain it throughout.
Yeah.
I think in that box, yes, he's probably straining it. If he works on that and makes sure he's able to settle in it and can keep it up, because the parts for Dunmer are ridiculously long. You will be spending a very, very long time doing this voice if you are accepted through. So if you are not comfortable and your voice is sore and everything like that, I would take Eldurrino's advice first before fully auditioning on that, because you don't want to damage your voice for a part that you're not getting paid for. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yes. I mean, well, even if you were getting paid for it, I can't stress it enough. Your voice is your tool. It is your instrument in this industry, and you need to protect it at all costs. So I understand, you might be, you might get paid, like $1,000 to scream your head off to the point where you have no voice anymore. It may seem great in the short term, but in the long term, you could cause irreparable damage to your voice. And obviously no one here wants to see that of you. So yeah, make sure you can, do these kind of things safely before you decide to chase those roles. Because I made that mistake before, and let me tell you, not a smart idea. I didn't damage my voice, but it, after speaking like that for like an hour and going out of the booth, and Meg's like, "Hey, how was your recording?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it was really good. I got to say a lot of angry words." So yeah, don't be like Eldurrino, but also do.
Okay, we have our new motto for the day: "Don't be like Eldurrino." All right,
sure. Or also do.
And keep in mind, if we could be completely wrong when it comes to if you're straining your voice or not, but we do want to say be careful with that. Plain and simple.
Yes.
Okay. Dashington.
Sir Dashington. Yes.
Sir Dashington.
No. Dashington also is the individual that I have been sort of working with in regards, like, he has a platform where he does sort of narration style stuff already. So he has the equipment, he has the thing, but he only recently wanted to start voice acting, and we met on a shared server and we had a sort of a conversation, and he was like, "Oh, you're the first VA I've ever met. Hi." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was, because I introduced myself as someone who does Skywind, and he obviously they came forward and said, "Oh, could you send me your Dunmer? I would like to hear that." And I sent him through everything, as you do, and cold read. And it was just the thing of, we sort of got talking, and he was umming and ahhing about it, and he's taking lessons, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I was like, "Well, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take." And it's like, "I'm going to do my audition for Skywind today."
Thank you, Michael Scott.
Yeah. Yep. And so he then sent them through to me, and he was like, "I've sent them in, but I would also like to get your some, what's the word, feedback, so that he can improve and stuff like that." I was like, "Do you mind if we share it on Cold Read?" He's like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So
here we are. Nice. Very cool. All right, we're gonna listen to the Scamp one real quick.
Oh, the Scamp. Yes,
here we
go for it.
Want a drink, buddy? I got anything you want, so long as it's Sujama. Come on, help us scamp out. You gotta need something. I've got booze. What's a scamp gotta do? Ow! Die! Whoa! Ha!
Okay.
So that's the Scamp one.
I have a lot of reverb in there. If it's not intentional, then time to bring out a blanket, put it over your face, and well, put it over your head, and try recording that again. That would be, Shut up, Dorino.
just put a bag over your head and go hide in a corner.
No.
Okay.
I agree. No, lots of reverb. Also, I think at the end was meant to be efforts.
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds
Yes, it
of
was.
attack.
Yes.
That needs work.
Mhm.
In that, I mean, it sounded very emotionless. It sounded like, well, Zamoody knows what I'm
Oh, I know. I was waiting for you to bring it up since the last one, honestly.
My leg.
I thought you were going to bring it up.
You
That's
got
why I
me.
didn't
No,
say
that's why I
anything.
said shh.
That's
Oh, I'm here.
No, but like, what I heard, instead of hearing something like die, something very angry, very powerful, I just heard die.
Yeah.
Like,
I
is
feel-
he getting up? Is he ready to fight, or is he just sitting in a lazy boy, having a cigarette? Which is it?
Right.
No, I agree. I think there's definitely a lot of reverb. Definitely, I think invest in some soundproofing, like blanket. Yes, a lot of people starting out have had the whole blanket trick of over the mic, and so you don't have the echo.
Or move to a closet. Full of clothes.
Oh, a closet, yes. I definitely think. Well, basically, he's meant to be doing this sort of Boston-esque type American New York.
Oh, yeah.
lilty
That came
type
through.
thing.
Yeah.
Cool. I think. Yeah, it's. I think the main thing is the reverb,
Mhm.
and I think that's going to be for no matter what the acting you do. If we don't get that out of the way, it might be damaging.
Yeah.
I'd say. But yeah.
I mean, I personally thought there was nothing wrong with the acting. I thought it was
No.
pretty
Yeah.
solid. It was just as far as the acting goes, just the efforts, but obviously that just comes from practice and doing it over and over. And
maybe with the sound, because it might be that he knows that if he goes any louder, the reverb will get bigger. So that might be why it might have been a slightly reserved in the taking damage aspect. So I think once the sound treating is done, you'll feel more free to do those louder bits of effort. Hence the box I'm in. Because that was my issue for the longest time, and I just felt trapped and not able to put as much effort in because I knew I'd get reverb. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my box, and then that sort of level you'll feel freer. But there's a couple more that I think he's given us as well.
So
Let's go for it.
we're gonna do the Ash Vampire next.
Ash Vampire. Ah, yes, okay.
Here we go.
So far, all your struggles, your battling, your destructiveness, all these things might be understood as improving your bargaining position. Come now, we hold no bitterness. You cannot truly harm us. We can afford to forgive. No? Pity. But then a pity to waste it on a coward like you. I'm done talking. I await your first blow, challenger. Finish what you started, coward. Face your end with dignity. Die!
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Anyone want to hear?
efforts in that one were great.
Yeah.
Reverb aside, those were far, far better.
So not just the reverb, I heard a fan of a computer.
Ah, I didn't hear that.
Well, I mean, and that's what it is. Like, treatment is treatment. But as far as the acting goes, like, that was way, way better.
Oh, 100%.
Sorry. What were you gonna say, Renara?
I think acting was great. We had a bit of a pacing interesting pacing issue on Pity. I think that felt a little choppy.
I think it was a character thing, honestly. I felt like there was a... I can't remember the guy that I'm thinking. It was in Blacklist that may have inspired this character.
Ash vampires are...
James
they aren't
Spader.
actually vampires. They are sort of slightly almost demigod stature beings that can cast magic, but they live in a sort of very highly corrupted area. So we're meant to have, it is meant to be sort of that dark, sort of brooding, sort of almost. They do ask for typically British RP. I know Dashington is Australian, so I'd feel like he went for the American sounding bit as a more easier way to slide into that. Because it does say a more American sounding is also flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing is, I heard Australian and American. I think it slipped a few times. So I think, honestly, I think if you did that one again, but in your natural accent, Dashington, I think how do you put this? The lines will flow better. And I think you're putting a lot of effort on trying to sound either British or American sounding. I think just give it a try, because they say they're flexible on it. I'd say do one take of your natural accent, and then I'd say do another take of you possibly doing either American or British again, so they can hear your natural, and then closer to what they might be asking for. Because again, Skywind is one of those projects where they'll give you feedback. There are areas you can get feedback, and project leads will reach out and will go, hey, this is almost there, do you think you could do this, and then re-audition. I've had that they will do that. So I think don't be afraid to try it with natural accent, just to get the pacing, to get the thing, because I think the acting and the character you understand what this creature is, and I feel that through the acting. I just think you're getting caught up in trying to match the vocal texture and sound, where we're getting a couple of bits to my directorial critical ear. Again, sound treating a room will make those combat lines and damage things elevated to the nth degree, because I still feel that we aren't projecting as much. It's the top of it's coming from here rather than from your chest. And I think if you can get it from your chest, I think you'll feel it more, and then I'd feel it more, if that makes sense. So those are mine on that one.
Cool.
I'm really bad at ending sentences, if you can't tell.
Yeah, that's why we have a sound effect in case we need to cut you off. So we're fine.
Let me tack on to that and say, overall, I think a lot of the issues with this, not to say that there is a lot of issues, but the main ones that stuck out to me can be rectified by just being confident in your performance.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I personally I picked out right away and it bothered me was overall the sound, or rather the pacing, sounded a lot like Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman has a very particular way of speaking, and in a lot of roles, including like Professor Snape, he had a tendency to elongate the vowels at end of words. It makes for a more dark, brooding, mysterious character. However, you did that, and you did the opposite, which is you elongated the syllables at the beginning of words. You started speaking like this, and I can't get behind that. Like that really threw me off. It almost sounded like and remind me, this is a vampire character, right?
It's a vampire-esque sorcerer, dark sorcerer, monstrous creature sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So something that would most likely exude a lot of confidence, a lot of power. Based on at least the first half before we got into the efforts, the only thing I could picture was zombie. Something that is slow, something that is it needs to take its time to formulate a sentence. I think if you go back and listen to how you were speaking in there, like even with the word pity, just really emphasizing the T in there, I thought that was great. I like hearing cadences that are outside of the norm. However, when you're starting to speak like that, it throws off the entire flow of the sentence. Basically, when you speak like pity, really emphasizing syllables, make sure you're doing that all the way through
Mhm.
and not just on like specific words, and certainly don't try to mash them together where it's slurred words followed by chopped up syllables followed by slurred words, etc. That
I
is my
think
only critique.
I think to add on to that again, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like he's using sort of like this part of his throat to
Yes.
speak. And I
Yes.
think if we do more of a chesty voice, that might help in the effects that you're trying to do. I think if you do it more of a chest voice, a projected voice from your chest rather than up here in your throat, you'll find
Yes.
your range will expand, your breath will expand, so you'll be able to do longer sentences. And I think you'll find yourself feeling more confident in being able to speak longer sentences. And I think one after the other, because these beings are wise, highly intelligent, highly powerful. They exude this I'm better than you confidence.
Yeah.
So if you can put yourself into that headspace and have that chestiness of, yes, I command this presence, I'm here, I'm better than you,
Right.
you sort of thing.
Yeah,
I
you
think
need to exude the
anything
same
else will
amount of
come with that.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And like I personally wouldn't say try to adjust and fix where the voice is coming from first.
Okay.
Just get into the head of the character and realize that you are, picture yourself as the most powerful being on this planet. Nothing can harm you. Nothing can even stand in your way, even for a fraction of a second. Get that power and confidence inside of you, and you will instantly notice everything is coming from the chest instead of the throat. When I hear like certain things get really trapped in the throat like this, and you're starting to do efforts like like
Yeah.
that to me says that you are unsure about what you're doing. And like we all do it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying like that's the character. The character is confidence personified, and I have no doubt that you can do it. You just go at it again and really, really drive it home.
I think it comes with time. It comes with practice.
Yep. We have a Dunmer one that we're going to end on for Dashington, so here we go.
I've long believed it was a mistake to turn from the old gods. Perhaps Azura is with you after all, and perhaps not. I will tell you that I've spoken with Dagoth. He promised me the same thing, that he will drive the foreigners from our lands. I am not one to ignore opportunity, nor am I one to be troubled by rubbing two sides of a coin. If you are one of your word, I am your ally. I will tell Valanda Omani and Navina Ules to support you as Hortator of House Ulalu. You Enwa! Die, Fetcher! Die, Fetcher! This is the end of you, Swit! You will suffer greatly! You cannot escape the righteous! You will pay with your blood!
The oof, I think needs a little. The other ones were great. Otherwise, I think we've already covered it. Room treatment's definitely helpful. Be careful with that voice. Make sure that you're giving yourself enough breaks that you could do it. Anything else, team?
I mean, honestly, I thought that was like 10 out of 10.
I thought that was his best, definitely.
Although since it is a Dunmari thing, this goes back to like what we were talking about Chimichanga. With that type of voice, it is typically hard to emphasize certain emotion or certain range. This guy certainly pulled it off pretty well. You could tell, he went from talking like this, nor did he start talking like this. Really kind of bridging or making this arch in his tone of voice that really kind of encapsulates it a little bit better. So that, I mean, yeah. Otherwise, I thought it was solid. The efforts were great.
Yeah, no, it's his natural voice has a rasp in it, which he has. He sits it on, and then he's added that extra gravel on top of it, so it's easier for him to get to that point. And this was the one that he told me he did the most practice on. has done the most practice on, and I can hear that. The main thing is all of the combat taunts and stuff. I did those as well, so I'm just sitting there going, it sounds similar to how I did those sort of things. So I'm there going, yeah, okay. I think I think the main thing is room treatment. Once we get rid of that reverb and that echo, I think that would basically elevate it to the next level on that front. But other than that, again, I think you hit Dunmer. Well done. I think you hit Dunmer.
Yeah.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Dashington, but I believe he said that he did get reached out to by the project for possible Dunmer. So, because he sent through one thing of, like, I sent them in, and then they kind of got back to me on doing Dunmer brackets unsure. So it's kind of like, fair enough. I'm excited to see where this goes and seeing what happens with it. But at the very least, this shows what happens when you do take that step and you do send that audition in and you just give it a try and see what happens.
Indeed.
Cool. Yeah, but no. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Cool. We're running short on time. I'm just going to do this real quick just to do as a feeler and see how this is going to go. So I came up with a little game real quick, and I want you guys to play it. So I in the title, I said a game show. So here we go.
And now, Cold Read presents its new game show, AI or Real.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in for AI or Real. I'm gonna. You okay there, Renara?
I'm dying, but I'm fine. It's
okay.
Okay,
fair enough.
Let's go.
I'm gonna have some little fun with my co-hosts here. I have a prompt, and I have an AI created one. We're gonna compare the two. We're gonna see how it's gonna go from here. So, thank you so much for me letting me pull this on you guys. Let me just fade this. Whoa, there we go.
Oh,
Let me fade that out. All right, so you guys can actually hear.
And now.
Oh, now it just started over. Nice. I'm just gonna stop it. Fair enough.
Getting whiplash, Zamoody. Come on.
I got you, man. I got you. Real quick. Okay, here we go. So, pick out the real one. Starting with one.
We have to reduce the number of plastic bags.
Number 2.
Her face was against his breast.
Which one's the real one?
Second one?
Second, yeah.
So, yep. Second one is the real one. Good job,
I love how
team.
we were both unsure.
All right, number 2. Here's A.
Just his scruples that charmed me.
And B.
Where my lovemaking may be suspended.
Want to hear this again?
Number 1.
Yeah, replay. 'Cause I got
Number
it.
1, replaying.
Just his scruples that charmed me.
And number 2.
Where my lovemaking may be suspended.
Which one's the real one?
Neither.
Oh, God.
Neither.
One of them is real.
Oh, Christ. Okay, number 1 then. I'm going to say number 1.
Eldurrino?
I'm going to say number 2 is the real one.
Number 2 is the real one. Good job, Eldurrino.
It sounded like the Burger King foot lettuce.
Yes. Hey, these samples are all coming from somewhere, but
Hell?
yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, last one that I got for you guys. So just as a test, here we go. And A.
It is a memorial.
And B.
Nothing is yet confirmed.
Which one's real?
1, or I mean A.
Yeah, A.
So
it is a memorial.
That one?
Yeah.
Nothing is yet confirmed.
Not that one?
The confirmed
Stop
is
it!
the part that's throwing me off, because you go when confirmed, like very elongated on that.
A is correct. All right, team. Thank you so much for allowing me and indulging me on that little.
Damn it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for everybody that was here, everybody who was in chat. Much appreciated. Apologies for the late podcast last week. There was a technical issue that will be corrected this week, so hopefully everything will come out on time. Again, if you have an opportunity, come on over to YouTube. You can see us because they're doing this recording. And Renara's doing the handy.
I'm doing my way.
Yeah. If you have any questions, any topics, anything you want to talk about, please feel free to email us coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com, or join our Discord. The link is in the description. Come on in and, talk to us, ask us your question, drop us your audio because we want to hear it. Thank you again to Sir Dashington. Thank you so much for Chimichanga. Again, Eldurrino, thanks for sharing your reels. You guys are all absolutely awesome. So yeah, we sometimes play video games, so something else to keep in mind when our time allows. Team, thank you again for a wonderful show, and I absolutely appreciate everybody. Chat, again, thanks everybody that was here, and we will catch you guys on the next round. Oh, guest!
One quick thing before we go, we now have a Facebook page. What? Oh, wow. You should go follow us over there, and make sure also to hit us up on Twitter at Cold Read Council. And you can follow us on our YouTube. You can subscribe there as well. Cold Read the Podcast.
Don't forget, you can send in your audio to coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com.
Or just drop it in our Discord. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, team. Thanks so much. Chat, you guys are awesome. We'll catch you all next time. Bye.
Goodbye. Drink water.
Microwave.
There it is.